Interpersonal violence is one of the most difficult crimes to address, not because of the act itself, but also just because of how society perceives it. It's handled in a way that shows that there are deep inequalities between different social groups, such as men, women, minorities, and those in the LGBTQ plus community. And even though we have this principle in the US of innocent until proven guilty, it is getting harmful in this case when those who report are also met with distrust and skepticism by enforcement. And it kind of does reflect just the broader societal view. It's not specific to enforcement, but it does mirror in them as well. So domestic violence is described in this textbook as violent acts between household members, regardless of the relationship between them. And because it's in a home and it's in one's own private dwelling, it's one of those crimes that can go underreported because people shy away typically from intervening in what someone gets up to in behind closed doors. It's also not acknowledged that people can can project themselves one way outside and then be completely different in home. And so it's the idea of like the successful businessman who comes home and beats his wife, for example. And coming back to the idea of husband and wife relationship, which is really, really talked about a lot in this textbook, showing that it's kind of the more important piece here, or not more important, but more prevalent. That it was perceived for a long time that women were safest when they were home with their husbands, and it really wasn't until the 1970s that people were taking interest in how often and if there really was underreporting of these crimes, because that was when there was another wave of that feminist movement. So findings do show that the home is still the most dangerous place a woman can be. In 2013, 43% of the cases of interpersonal violence went underreported, but even at the lowest rate that has been recorded, the intimate partners of these women were responsible for 38% of their deaths. And in between 1977 and 2015, the ratio from female to male IPV related deaths went from 2 to 1 to 4 to 1. So there was already a 2 to 1 ratio of female to male discrepancy in terms of violence at home, but it doubled, showing that that gap between genders is only increasing. But it's not necessarily just a heterosexual issue. It acknowledged that between 25 and 35% of same-sex couples also face this issue sometimes. And around 10% of teenagers in same-sex and heterosexual relationships also report physical abuse from their partner. It's also not just women that get abused, but it's primarily, in a meta-analysis, found that 28% of women and 22% of men reported perpetrating physical violence. So males are more likely to be the target of extreme violence, but that's because they are being retaliated against for their own abuse. So it's going back to this idea of male oppression within the household and sometimes women acting out against that. So the textbook does acknowledge that no one criminal act is inherently criminal, even the taking of a life, because if a woman is killing her husband because she has been abused repeatedly and fears her life, well, how much can we blame her for that? Regardless, the handling of these cases reflects the deeper societal biases, either against women or minorities or whoever is reporting, and how much trust enforcement has in them. And to fix this issue, we need to open up space for victims to come forward, and we need to challenge these stereotypes that we have against people who are victimized.